hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. So, if you are not familiar with us, let me tell you what we're about. So, this is the web series where we like to talk about real things. Okay? We like to talk about things that people are afraid to talk about, that people don't really think about, that it's in the back of our minds. Well, we here at Hot Topics, we're bringing it to the front of our minds. So, as we are a tutoring company, we like to focus on particular topics. Although we're pretty open to everything, we tend to focus on things like jobs, employment, education, health. We tend to focus on those things, but we are open to pretty much any topic. The whole point of that is we like to look at things from an educational point of view, an instructional and a teaching point of view. And what we pride ourselves in this web series is that no matter what the topic is, although we are selective, no matter what the topic is, we want to educate you. And we can educate you in so many ways and in so many things. So, this is the show where you're going to learn. So, classes in session. Haha. So, the topic for today, I am totally looking forward to this topic. I'm going to put up the little banner. The topic today is financial security. So, we are going to talk to you about how you can be safe in terms of uh, how to handle your money, how to earn money. So, we want you to know that we want you to be able to find ways for you to pay your bills and to to go out every once in a while. We're going to talk about ways that you can be safe financially, pretty much. And we're going to talk about those strategies today. So that is our topic for today, financial security. And I have a guest with me who is going to help me with this topic. Her name is Lindsay Sutherland, and I forgot her quick banner, but she is my guest for today, and she is going to help me with this discussion. Ah. So let's get right into it. I can't wait to tell you who she is. So, who is Lindsay Sutherland? Let me tell you who she is. So, Lindsay's passion for passive income was birthed from a desire to live her best life without waiting until retirement. Since both of her parents passed away before making it to retirement, she realized we have no guarantee of someday. Like all of us, she needed money to fund adventures and support her family, as well as time to enjoy the activities and meaningful moments, which may be as simple as homeschooling her kids. Passive income was the answer. Since 2004, she has been researching and experimenting with various income producing entrepreneurial ventures. That's a mouthful right there. From real estate investing to online business, she has learned from experts in many trades. But where she excelled was in helping owners small service based business owners take back their time by developing passive products that infuse cash into their business. Her podcast, The Passive Income Examiner, is filled with business building ideas and motivational episodes to get you started. And we will provide the link to her podcast at the end of the episode. So I am going to bring her to the stage right now. Hi, Lindsay. How are you doing today?
Hi. Good. Did I give you enough tongue twisters?
Yes, you did. That is all right. So I am looking forward to for you to educate us on passive income strategies. So I'm going to hand over the baton to you and I'm going to let you educate us today.
All right. Well, firstly, thank you for this opportunity. And I set the intention that my information is received and you guys are able to implement some new strategies for yourself. I will speak in a way that isn't always just towards small business owners because passive income is something anybody can do at any stage of life. Whether you're looking to retire with income coming in, whether you're looking to just get started. I have my 13-year-old son starting a Shopify store so that he can pay for college when he gets to that point. Passive income is something that we can all do to supplement our income. And I really think, and I know we talked about this leading up to this conversation, that in today's day and age, especially since we all went through the whiplash that COVID gave us, that pandemic, we all experienced the reality of I suppose you could say, tenderness of our positions and our jobs. I know some people were furloughed, they lost their job, whereas other people, they were struggling, or small business owners like here in my hometown were struggling because the tourist industry just took a dump, right? So everybody kind of felt it in their own way to some extent. And those are the moments that make us really recognize how important it can be to have multiple streams of income in our daily lives. And we don't have to have a business to do that. Although it is a little bit easier to pinpoint a passive product when you already have clients and customers, just because the analytics are there and it's easy to kind of track and determine which direction to go. But anything you're good at, there is a way to infuse your cash flow with a passive strategy. So, for example, with service-based business owners, I guess let me go a little broader and just talk about some popular passive income strategies, and then maybe you can ask me some questions that can help pinpoint and drive down into what would be more advantageous or what questions you may have. So, to start, some examples of passive income could be starting an Etsy store with printables. Now, a lot of times people think of Etsy and they think of cute things that people are making, crafts and whatnot. And that's a great thing to do if you're very crafty and passionate about being crafty. The only thing about that is then you have to invest your time to make the crafts, and then you have all these investments in your products. And that's not the angle I'm looking at. Downloadables, printables, things that people can just push a button and have access to immediately is an amazing way to make money on Etsy that not a lot of people know about. And I want you to ask yourself, what are you good at and what do you know? Or what systems do you use on a regular basis? Like little things that you've done. Maybe you've got a spreadsheet that you use for tracking your own bills, or maybe you have a great way of budgeting for your family. So simple little things like that, that you can create a PDF, put it into Etsy. People can pay to download that, and voila, you're making passive income because you build it one time and it sells over and over again. And so ultimately, that is the definition of creating a passive product, something you can invest your time into once that can pay you multiple times over. Another really common one people are seeing these days is courses, building online courses through Teachables, or there's so many actual platforms right now. I can't even begin to name them. You could Google it and find probably 7 or 8 at least. But coaching doesn't have to be your strong suit, but you could just be somebody who knows something really well. Like maybe you love to bake and you have a special recipe that is really popular. And so you create a little mini course on how to develop that. So you see where I'm coming from? This is something where we all have a gift and we all have something unique that is important to us, special to us, a passion that we share that other people are curious about. Now, you might be surprised by that, and may think, well, what do I know that actually people want to hear about? And I've been there too. So I understand completely that mindset. But I assure you, one thing let me give you an example actually of somebody I know for sure who actually experienced this. They started making organic baby food for their little one, and they just did it because it was something that was meaningful to them and they really wanted to. it turned out their neighbors and their friends started asking about what they were doing and some of their recipes. They started hosting little baby food making groups, I guess, people over, and it evolved actually into an actual company where they now produce organic baby food. I mean, the sky is truly the limit and anything is possible, but I would recommend and start with just making a list of things that you're passionate about, things, interests that you have that you could talk about all day. Or if you're a very organized person, maybe you don't see yourself as a creative, you're most likely then creative in more of an organizational type of a way. And you're using something or systems or processes in your day to day life to combat overwhelm and to be a mom and juggle all the mom things. Or maybe you're a working dad and you're a single dad, you might have an avenue there that you have something to share. You see where I'm coming from? It's very open and broad. So the courses would be one example we talked about. The Etsy store is one example. Another great passive product idea could simply be even a drop shipping company like my son with his Shopify. If you really want something hands off and you don't want to have to put yourself out there, which you would do in a course, an e commerce solution is another great idea. They're very easy to set up. I do encourage you to spend some time researching online before you just invest your money, so to speak. Definitely get a handle on it. There's a ton of good information on YouTube and books that you can read, but you want to look for products. I'll give you this tip. You would like to look for products that are hot sellers rather than trying to sell products that you love. In other words, I love horses. Doesn't mean that I should put a store together that's just about horses and their products unless I've done the research first to prove that it is a sellable product. That would be my advice. That's the same advice I gave my son. He started a store selling glow in the dark dog collars because he did the research and that's a really popular product. So you see where I'm coming from on that. You definitely want to make sure you have invested some time and energy into that. So there's just a few ideas to get started. I'm curious what questions you might have and what direction you would like to see this go.
All right. Well, I'll start off. So, how does it cost a lot of money to start a passive income activity? How is it expensive? Is it cheap? Can you go into the finances of it?
Okay, yes, that's a good question. It does not, it's actually very affordable. You're investing more of your time than money typically. Now, obviously, you could invest more if you wanted to really, I suppose, invest money in ads and all that jazz, which I don't really recommend right out of the gate. Let me actually, I'm glad you asked that question because it's sponsoring some more details that I want to lead into. But first, let me answer your specific question. The thing about passive income that most people don't really realize is that it takes time. Passive income is you're going to invest your time in the research phase, deciding what you're going to do, and you're going to invest time in marketing it. But once you have the system behind it and you find the right strategy to your marketing, then the funnel, it's a funnel essentially, it runs on autopilot. You can certainly do all of this yourself. Like I said, YouTube University is amazing for finding information. I do offer a program, which we're going to get into a little bit later, but I want to touch on what we talk about because it's important here. We talk about not just building the passive product and pinpointing which product is right for you, but also putting together that process as well as an evergreen marketing strategy. So we really want to make sure that once we've invested our time and energy, we can test it in the marketplace. We want to make sure that we test it in the marketplace. That's a really important next step. And then beyond that, that's when you know it's working. It's going to have some legs, is what I call it. Um, and then that would be the time to start investing in that product and putting the money into advertising or promotion. So to answer your question, it doesn't cost money to get it started. If you want to really set up a system later on and start driving traffic to it, it is definitely possible that it could cost you money. However, if it's done right, you should know how much money you spend and how much return you're going to get on that so that you're not just wasting money, I guess is where I'm going with that.
So once someone establishes a passive income, I don't know if I want to call it an activity, but once someone has that going for them, how much time should they invest in it? Is there a certain number of hours that they should devote to it? Should they turn it into a full time job, a part time thing? How much time should one um, commit to uh, the passive income?
So, my recommendation is, and this is the philosophy I follow, I am always adding passive income strategies to my repertoire, right? I don't have just one. And my suggestion is to do what's called the ABC method. In other words, you do A until A is done, and then move on to B, and then B is done, and then C. And by that, I mean, you literally, I think of, that adage where she's got all the plates spinning. But in my mind, I think I'm going to get one plate spinning, right? One passive income stream spinning and working, and then I can move on to others. And my goal is to have an empire of passive income strategies because back to what we were talking about with financial security, just because we finally get one working doesn't mean some fluke couldn't come along and hinder that. I'll give you an example. There's a podcast called the Gold Digger Podcast. Jenna Kutcher is the host of that show. And I was listening to an episode where she had been making oodles of money with a journal that she had. It was one of her very first passive products. It wasn't even tied to her brand anymore. It was something she probably didn't have her heart set on, but it had been producing such an amount of money that she just kept it going because she knew she could pump a certain number of ads into Pinterest, a certain dollar into Pinterest, and she would produce. Well, Pinterest algorithms changed. They cut her ad and her income dropped dramatically in that one pillar. Thankfully, that wasn't her only passive income strategy, but and because she had money coming in from other areas, she was able to really focus on figuring out what she had to do to fix it to get it going again. And so therefore, that's why I'm saying I wouldn't necessarily make your intention to invest your time in only getting one. I would set aside a specific amount of time on the regular to invest your time and energy into developing passive strategies. Some are going to hit out of the park, some might be mediocre, some might flop. So it is one of those things where you can certainly take your time and do your research and increase your odds of success by all means, but that does not guarantee absolute success right out of the gate. What I do is I have a dedicated passive income day. It's a day where I have blocked off half of my day. And what I focus on is the next step in whatever passive product I'm working on. So that's it. I just keep a list of activities I need to do. And I'm constantly spending that time dedicated to do it. And some things are easier than others. So, for example, what I mean by that is for me, recording a course is an easy part. I can jump on, I'm pretty good at ad libbing and talking and whatnot. It's kind of what I do on the podcast. So it comes naturally to me. Where things feel slower and take me longer is in the back end, building out the funnels and writing the copy and the landing pages. And then that's where I sometimes struggle a little bit. So I have committed to spending the same amount of time each week. Some things get done really fast in that time, others take many weeks to get through, but I don't move on to the next product or passive idea until that particular one is complete. So that would be the strategy that I use that I do recommend to my clients as well.
All right, so you brought up an interesting point, which is not to not to stick to one strategy. So if I'm hearing you right, you're encouraging people to have multiple strategies at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, for example, I have my course. That is one example of a passive income strategy. I particularly also have rental income because my background started out in real estate about 10 years ago. And so some of that was already established. But I recognize that real estate is a volatile market. It's also something that not a lot of people can just get into. It's high risk, I guess is where I'm coming from. Online businesses definitely make more sense for more people because there's less risk involved. With online businesses, that's where, for example, let's just talk about your business. You have an educational business that um, you're using as a counseling and tutoring people. So let's say you're exchanging time for money unusual. You're working with your clients, but you have a funnel, right? Because when people are in the market for a tutor, they're in the information stage usually when they're beginning. This is something I talk about in my course that is specific, my passive course, right? It talks about how to pinpoint a product. So one of the things I talk about is the client funnel. So when you look at a funnel, people at the top of the funnel are in the information stage. So they're essentially out there researching, they're wondering if a tutor is right for them, what do they need in a tutor, they're comparing prices. The more they move down their funnel, the next step is the who, right? First it's the what, and then it's the who. Who are they going to work with? And why? And that's where your content creation is really important, and sharing your message and networking and being in the right place. That's all important there. And then the next step is they talk to you and then you close them on working with you, right? That's kind of the shortened funnel. Well, in the information stage, if you could ask yourself, what questions are people asking? What are they researching? What are they Googling? What is their objection to getting a tutor? Is it just the price? Is it maybe they don't value themselves? Maybe they are struggling with their own mindset. Whatever the case may be, when you ask yourself those specific questions, you could create a passive product, either an ebook or a mini course, or even a checklist of, like, is a tutor right for you, and how to work yourself up to leading to this stage. You could work on some of those passive strategies there that focus on that initial funnel, because that way you don't have to invest your time trying to convert people who are just in the information stage. I'll give you a good example of a client that I actually did this for. They build log homes, custom log homes. And it's a very niched product because they're handcrafted. They're not the milled kits like mine. Mine's a milled kit. What's interesting about them is that they are local here in North Idaho, but they build for anywhere in the world. And when Google changed their metrics to be much more geocentric, so when you Google something like tutors near me, Google will show tutors near you, but you could tutor somebody all the way in across the country, right, on any topic. So your business is actually more of a national or even possibly a global reach, but because of the way Google has done things, they've gotten so much more niched on geo targeting. It's limiting business owners who have this ability to work remotely with people all over the place, like this client. So what we did is we built something called, I actually wrote this book for them. It's called The Ultimate Log Home Planning Guide. And essentially it's like a wedding planning guide for log home people, right? Because they're all in the information stage. They want to know things like, what kind of log home should I get, and what's going into it, what's the process, how to find the right people, how to hire my team, all of the things that people are going through before they even reach out to a log home company. They wanted to feel safe, they wanted to understand, and there's jargon and all these other things going into it. So this book has become really valuable because now it's in the hands of people who are interested in their product. It's got their branding. It's an activity book that helps them walk through every step, even if they want to build the cabin themselves, right? So it's not necessarily only for people who want this specific product. It's definitely more of a broader range, but it's definitely guiding them down that path, because we also have the podcast that we started for their company. That is their evergreen strategy. So the podcast promotes this book. Once the book gets out into their hands, now they've got this, I guess, asset, you could say, in the right hands of the people who are interested in their product. And then that passive product is now leading people to their door. So that's kind of what a small business owner might do, is you want to create a passive product that helps guide people back to your door, right? Your main product, so to speak.
Okay. So so the importance of starting a passive income strategy is it's sort of you're being prepared for the unexpected, right? So things like COVID, where you're automatically laid off, right? Or um, I mean, God forbid something happens to the internet, right? There goes your online business. So basically, what you're saying is the importance of having a passive income strategy is are you're preparing yourself for the unexpected. Like there are things that are out of our control, and it's a way for us to be secure no matter what happens. Is that
Hmm.
the safe?
Yeah, I'd say it's twofold. When we look at it from the perspective of anybody, right? Just anybody, or even people in a 9 to 5 who want, as this phrase is coined, a side hustle. A great way to build a side hustle is, okay. Let's just think about this for a minute. People who are in a 9 to 5 have a busy life. They're not only working, they've got family, then you have to take care of your home. I know because I've worked in that W-2 lifestyle, have 4 kids. It's a lot of pressure to then also, which I used to do, a multi-level marketing company, right? In my spare time, so to speak, as if that was a reality. There was no spare about it. It was sucking time away from my family. That's what it was doing. And I was hoping that I was going to make that into a career, but it was very challenging. It was also very sad. It was pulling me more away from my kids than I really wanted. And I realized it was not sustainable, even though I was good at it and I grew quickly within the company. It wasn't sustainable for what I needed to accomplish. When I was at a point and a turning point where I recognized I really wanted to be able to leave my W 2, and it was important to me that I not only started a business that could replace my income, but also could give me the time freedom that I needed. So I wanted both. I wanted the abundance and I wanted the time. I wanted both, financial and time. And that's when I realized passive income is the strategy. So it was what I had to focus on. But it isn't easy. It isn't easy to just flip a switch and build one product and expect that that's going to replace your full income. It is a Think of it as this. I say it's a long game. It's something that if you start now, you could get that one product that gets you going, enough to where you might be able to start working from home or working part-time, and you ease yourself into that. So you may not have this overnight drastic change in your life, but you can definitely be taking those steps. And the beautiful part about it is that when you're building passive income, once that product is up and running, you are not having to hustle it. You are not having to spend all of your extra time telling the world about it just so you can make a little extra dollars here and there. This is about setting it up so that the money comes in while you sleep, while you play with your kids, while you work on building other passive income strategies. That is the premise behind it.
Awesome. So let's get into um, developing a strategy a little bit. Um, so you, well, before I get there, I just want to reference something you said earlier about picking something that is already popular as opposed to just doing whatever. So can you go into that a little bit more into why it's important to be selective in your strategy as opposed to picking any strategy?
Okay. Well, and that specific comment was made in relation to e-commerce. Now, it's interesting philosophy because when we talk about, for example, a membership program or a course, sometimes popularity is not the best answer. Or by popularity, I mean like you're choosing a topic that is the most popular. The reason for that is it's more complicated than that, let me say. It's about what people are searching for. Okay. So you really want to be able to do market research. And this is something that is a term so many people are familiar with, but often I hear, I don't know what that means. In fact, I had a client say that to me. I kept talking about keyword strategy and keyword this and keyword that. And she finally just said, I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. And I thought, wow, okay, that's what happens. And this is actually a really good example for you all, too, because there are times in our lives where we are doing something we're naturally gifted at, or something that we've got a lot of experience in. And we just assume everybody knows about it, right? Because it's so common to us. But it's an assumption that is false. There's often a lot of times where other people wish they knew or they would like to learn from you. And as soon as she said that, I thought, holy smokes, like this is what I need to focus on. People do not understand how to do quality market research. They do not understand keywords. And what does it mean to get into the mindset of what people are searching for? And so I did, that's part of the training also is, I really do, I do a visual of this. On my screen, I share with you exactly how to do market research, how to look up keywords, what people are searching for. So when I say doing your research and finding a product that's popular, you want to find something that people are searching for. Okay. Look at Pat Flynn. He's a great example of this. If you're not familiar with Pat Flynn, he has a podcast called, I think it's called Smart Passive Income with Pat Flynn. Now, Pat started his online passive income business actually by studying for a test. I cannot remember exactly. It was this, I'll put it to you like this, it was a very difficult test that very few people actually pass, had something to do with, I want to say engineering, like something he was into with his business for his career, and he had to get this certification in order to get to the next level. So he developed a website and he was using the website to train himself. That's it. It was a simple like way for him to learn how to pass this so he could just pass this test. Well, one day, while later, he started thinking about passive income and looked at his website and he was getting traction. He was getting visitors to his site and he didn't even know it. So then he thought, well, how can I capitalize on this? And so he started to produce little ebooks and pamphlets. Now, what's really interesting is like not everybody needed this course, right, on the masses, but the people who really wanted this particular course to get to the next level of their certification for this type of career, it was a very lucrative position, were very interested, right? So they were willing to pay to get the secrets and be able to pass this test. So he was able to start, that was his first passive income strategy. And then that kind of blew up from there. Like he figured it out. So, where I'm coming from with this, what I want to demonstrate for you all is that you probably have some sort of gifted information that people actually want to know more about. For me, it was keyword and market research. For you, it could be growing within your own career. It could be tutoring your own child if you're a homeschool mom, right? If you're tutoring in the educational space. Like there is a gift that you have, and that's what you want to be able to pinpoint so that when you do develop that passive product, it's something that you can share with the right people, get in front of the right people, and then from there let it grow, let it grow from there, just like Pat did, just like I have.
So, speaking of gifts, so of course, in your work, you have to help your clients tap into those gifts. So, how do you do that? How do you help your clients tap into their gifts?
Yeah. Oftentimes, I could do that just by simply having a conversation. It's on my radar to develop a passive product called pinpointing your passion, because I do think that is something that a lot of people struggle with is developing that little bit of what am I good at, right? Everybody has that gift. And so usually in my consultation, when I talk to somebody, I can figure it out pretty quickly. But you can start by asking yourself this. Here's some questions you can ask yourself to help you get to that level or to that point. Number 1, what is something that you're good at that people come and seek advice from you on? It could be something as simple as, how to handle a difficult situation or how to handle confrontation, right? Something simple like that. Maybe you're the person in your friend circle who people want to know what's the newest movie, or they come to you for information, random facts about X, Y, or Z. We all have something that people come to us for over other people because they'll say something like, "Look, I wanted to ask you this because I know you always seem to know the answer," right? That's a great place to start. Something like that. Another question that you can ask yourself is, what is something that you've spent years researching or investing because you're naturally curious about it? Here's where a lot of us fall flat, I guess, if for lack of a better word, because we often, when we're in that space, we often assume that there's so much more to learn because we're eager beavers, right? It's our little spot where we are like, I'm so excited. For me, for example, I'm so excited about marketing and passive income. And I feel like there's so much more I can learn, right? I'm always reaching for more. But yet at the same time, I've also spent 5, 10 years researching marketing and researching passive income. So there's so much I already know that I can help other people with. Does that mean that I'm never going to stop learning? No, but you have the same gift, right? You've got a passion within you, something you're excited about that you constantly feel like you want to learn and read about, or watch YouTube videos about, whatever the case may be. But that also means that you've already filled your mind with a certain level of information that you are already able to help other people with. So don't discount that just because you think you need to learn more. You have a gift that you can already share with others who are at the beginning of their journey. So those are two ways that you can start to really pinpoint a passion project, so to speak, and something that you're good at that you can help pinpoint your passion.
So, is something I'm a little confused about. You said you don't like the term side hustle. Can you explain that a little bit? What's the difference between a passive income strategy and a side hustle?
Okay. Well, I think I first heard the word side hustle back in, I don't know, about 2013 when I was working full time and I was researching how to quit my job, right? How to get out of this hole that I was in, and I wanted to have more time freedom, and a lot of things I found online had to do with this keyword side hustles, finding a side hustle. And when I did some research on that, a lot of times it leads to MLMs, which are the multi-level marketing or just network marketing companies. It's leading to essentially a side income producing activity that most of the time, 99% of the time actually, involved trading time for money. Okay. And I went down that rabbit hole. I have done almost every network marketing company that you could think of. I have even run my own businesses outside of my W2. See, in my situation, I was the primary income earner and have been in my marriage the entire time. So for me, being able to just walk away from my job was not an easy task. It wasn't like I just needed an extra 5 or 100 bucks or 1,000 bucks to get by. I needed to replace my income. Okay. And I also needed to do it in a way that was sustainable and ongoing. So it couldn't just be like a fluke 1 month and then not have it again for 2 months. I needed something that was consistent. That's when my journey began. Like, that's when I really started wanting to, actually, it began before that when I started real estate back in '08. But this is when I found that term side hustle. And after doing it, it is a hustle. That word alone just carries such a heavy connotation. It literally means like you're out boogieing and like hustling your stuff. And personally, it's a personal thing. I don't like that vibe. One of the things that I really talk about a lot, I even talk about on the podcast, is creating an experience of a relaxed and peaceful life. And that's what passive income really means to me, is to create the quality lifestyle that gives us the power to enjoy where we are in the moment and create meaningful memories with the people that matter the most. Side hustles typically take our time and keep us away from the people that matter most. Even though we think in the end it's going to give us that time back, it often doesn't, or it takes years before it does. So that's my little soapbox. That's why I don't like that terminology.
That's understandable. So, I think personally, because of COVID, there seems to be an explosion of people looking for remote work, particularly, and I guess because they've been laid off from their jobs. So now they are, I guess, a lot of like things that I see on Facebook, it's a lot of people looking for work at home opportunities, remote opportunities. I mean, there's people that want to go back to work, but those that maybe they had an epiphany and decided, I hate my job, and because of COVID, I now realize that I hate my job, so now I don't want to go back. um, so now they're looking for work at home opportunities and remote opportunities. So I'm wondering what what advice would you give for someone looking to work at home and work remotely?
Okay. So I was just thinking about this actually last week because one thing I'm really seeing an uptick in the online space is virtual assistants, and not just work remote opportunities. There is a ton of those. A lot of companies are getting more aware of the fact that, and some of them are even restricted because of where their base is operation is out of, to be a little bit more lenient and lax and letting people work from home. That being said, there's also a lot of companies that are not. And if you're in a position where you don't want to deal with having to find a job and going into the workplace, some people are also still, maybe they have health conditions or things like that that want make them want to stay home and develop some sort of income to where they can limit their exposure by going out into the world. I mean, that's understandable as well. So with that being said, finding a way to make money from home could be as simple as basically finding something that you're good at that you can do from home, and then making those connections and networking with people, putting yourself out there. So for example, I told you, in all truth and candidness, right? Passive income does take time to build. I was able to develop passive income to replace some of my income. I was not able to in the beginning replace all of my income right away. However, I definitely wanted to take a accelerated leap into being able to be home with my kids. For me, it was about homeschooling my children. That was really my personal mission. I wanted to be doing that with my kids. And it was like I was not willing to let that I wasn't willing to the need for money to keep me from working with my kids and being home more. So what I did is I was able to build up a a way to make money from home as a social media done for you type of an agency. So I started building up I started my own company. I built out my own brand. I started networking with small business owners locally. And not only was it I mean, I had a bigger vision in mind than just creating social media for people. I also see myself as a consultant, and it put me in a place to open the door and have that conversation with people on a marketing level. We now do, my agency now does more than social media. We do Pinterest management, blogging, SEO, all of that jazz. But it started with just finding one little thing I could do that I was pretty good at. And I had this gift of being able to talk to people and understand their mission and be able to kind of communicate their vibe, so to speak. That's one of the biggest things that holds business owners back from hiring somebody to do their social media is it's such a personal thing. They often don't want to let it go to just anybody. So I put together a whole system and a process, and I started this company, and it grew very quickly because it was a need that everybody seems to be looking at right now. Like, people know they need to have a presence on social media, but they don't all have time or the knowledge of how to do it. So since my background was in marketing, it just made sense. It's kind of what got my foot in the door. And then it kind of expanded from there to the point where now I outsource a lot of the work. So my agency isn't even me exchanging time for money like it was in the beginning, right? So to answer your question and to be very specific to those of you that are looking to find a way to make money from home, is ask yourself what you're good at. Maybe social media isn't your thing. Maybe that's not really what you're good at, but maybe you're good at writing. So you might be a good blogger. You might be good at copywriting. You might be proofreading. Some people are making a living just proofreading things. So there's so much opportunity now to be able to do things for companies and other businesses online. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there and see. I'll give you an example of a woman who was on my show, Aubrey Malik. She was a teacher, and this happened way before COVID, but she was tired of being a teacher, and she was pregnant with her first child, and she wanted to be able to be a stay at home mom. So she challenged herself over the summer to see if she could earn $1,000 as a VA. And she did. In I think it took her less than 90 days to earn $1,000, and she recognized, if I can earn $1,000 in 90 days, I could replace my teacher salary very quickly now that I've got the hang of it. So that's how she took her risk, and she kind of tested it out, and then she branched out. Now she teaches other people how to be a VA. So to give you some idea of what you can do, it may start here, but it doesn't have to end here. So just take that first step and don't be afraid to just see where it goes.
Awesome, awesome. And on that note, do you have any? because we're going to wind down a little bit here. Do you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to impart on our viewers?
So, the first thing I would say is to get clear on your heart space. Like, I know that sounds very woo woo, but it's true. I think if we are not in tune with our bigger love, our passion, our big picture, what is fueling our fire, right? Then anything we do is going to feel much harder and take much longer. So, what I mean by that is if we're only chasing the almighty dollar, in the end, it's not going to be as fruitful as if we follow our mission and our passion. Like my passion is to help people live a meaningful life because I recognize how short life is, because it was meaningful to me, right? That is my mission I'm on. So I know that my everything I'm doing is aimed towards that. So I would say to you, get clear on what that is for you and then ask yourself, now what how can I make a difference in the world? And in the process, how can I do passive income, right? Because ultimately, when we start building those little baby steps towards those things, it's going to have much more of an impact and grow much more quickly because people will hear the passion that's coming from within us.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to put up your banner here. So, you guys, Lindsay is on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So, definitely follow her on social media. You can also email her if you have any questions. Her email is thepassiveincomeexaminer@gmail.com. And she is on the World Wide Web. Her website is thepassiveincomeexaminer.com. So if you have any questions, if you are interested in her services, definitely hit her up. And Lindsay, can you talk about your business a little bit?
Yep. So I help people develop passive income from start to finish. My method is called the My Unplugged Lifestyle Methodology. And it's three parts. The first is mindset, right? We kind of talked about that already. And going from that worker bee mindset to passive income, there is growth that happens there. And I've been through it, so I can help you as well. Then the next step is to pinpoint that passive product and develop the process. It's called the P cubed method. So the right process and the right product is going to equal profit. And the last part of the pie is the evergreen content strategy, because the last thing you want to do is develop an awesome product and then have to trade your time to sell it, right? We want to develop a system that drives traffic to that passive product so that you can make money on autopilot.
Fabulous. And you work one on one with your clients, right?
I do. I work one on one and I have a group program. So we can work it both ways. Actually, coming up in April, I'm going to be launching a business boot camp for business owners who want to develop a passive product. Usually business owners, they don't have a lot of time for one-on-one, so doing a collaboration and creating that focus group is going to be a really important and powerful piece of that process, because then we have that ability to do market research live right there, and then one-on-one with people who are looking to just get break free from their 9 to 5.
All right, fabulous. Thank you so much.
My
And
pleasure. Thank you.
you also have a podcast. I wanted to make sure I got this up here. So you have a podcast that is on Apple Podcasts and on Podbean. So those are the
So it's
links.
anywhere you listen.
And yeah, any wherever there's a podcast, she is there. So, what's the name of your podcast?
The Passive Income Examiner.
Simple.
Pretty much Google the Passive Income Examiner and you will find me.
All right, so you're doing something well. That's good. So yeah, she definitely has a podcast. So follow, check her out wherever there is a podcast. Look her up there. But there's a couple of links that are scrolling below on your screen for you to look her up easily. All right, so Lindsay, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I'm going to place you backstage now. And you guys, it is just you and me. So I'm going to put up my banner here. And we have reached the conclusion of our episode. Thank you so much for joining us today. So wherever you are watching this right now, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or even Instagram at some point. Wherever you are watching us, please stay in touch with us, whether that's following us, subscribing, liking us, whatever the button is, press it. Press that button, whatever the button it is, press it and stay in touch with us. And while you're at it, take a moment right now. Let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comment section below. And as a reminder, we are a Step Ahead Tutoring Services. So if you would like to learn more about the company, the services we provide, if you want to know about myself or whatever we have to offer, we are online. You can check us out online. Our website is www.stepaheadtutoringservices.com. You can also sign up for our email list or texting list. The links to those are scrolling below right now. And if you happen to be watching this on YouTube, the links are also in the description. So I definitely encourage you to sign up for our email list, sign up for our texting list, and we will be in touch with you on a frequent basis. You can learn about upcoming events, discounts, all that fabulous stuff. And I'm just going to share this last message before we close for the episode.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at a Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
Yeah, so please consider making a donation today. It will be greatly appreciated. All right, so thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us at this episode. And I, Gabrielle, look forward to. Sorry, I'm like seeing a shade. um, but I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to our guest, and you can also leave those questions in the comments as well. So thank you for joining us, and now I am signing off. Bye.